This is exactly step-by-step how I would rapidly build a high-performing team, even one I inherited. And not just any team, but a high-performing team that consistently outperforms expectations, and I'd be able to do it rapidly and consistently. I use these principles all of the time in real world, whether it be project management or responding to big disasters. As recently as last summer, large-scale wildfire in a national park, and we had teams rotating in and out consistently over a course of 5 weeks, and they would be there for anywhere between 7 and 10 days, and they'd rotate out either as a whole team or as individuals, and I was the constant leader throughout. So how do I actually integrate them and bring them up to speed? And these are folks that had never even worked together, had never even met in a lot of cases, including meeting me and working with me. So I'm going to share with you the exact steps that I go through. Step 1, I set the stage, expectations, and standards at a team level. I get everyone together and I explain what we're responsible for as a team. And then importantly, I express my intent in the form of what right looks like. I use a quote often that ships don't sink because of the water around them. Ships sink because of the water that gets in them. So examples of what right looks like are that we always keep the end state in mind. Always. We communicate openly. Information is neither good nor bad. It's neutral. It just is. And I get bad news first as the leader. A lot of times folks hide information, they hide bad news because they're afraid of how it reflects on them, afraid of how the leader would act, those sorts of things. We support each other, that's what right looks like. And we trust but verify always. What I don't do is use vague corporate mission statements framed on walls in lobbies that nobody remembers, or get too micro like performance metrics, etc. I'm setting the stage for the team I support. The result is everyone is on the same page with regards to why we're here, what we're doing, how we do it, and some foundational ways that the team operates both within and externally. This way, the team members can focus their energy and efforts on the end state instead of trying to navigate ambiguity and confusion and the inevitable politics. Speaking of team members, that leads to step 2. That is, communicate and ensure the understanding of roles and responsibilities. Clarity is kindness is a principle I deploy here. No, team members shouldn't just know their job. It means sitting down with each team member individually and going through their job description. Maybe it's their expectations around their project member now assigned to a project and they don't have that formal job description. But I go a little bit further, and a lot of managers miss this piece. Where a lot of managers stop, quite frankly, but more importantly, is setting the expectations and actual decision-making authorities, financial boundaries, who they communicate directly with, those kinds of things. In addition, I confirm they have all the necessary resources and training to succeed within those boundaries. I think another area that managers don't often get into, quite frankly, but I make sure I spend some time and effort front-end loading those conversations. It's critical because when team members lack either the proper training or adequate resources, the technology, equipment, what have you, I'm essentially setting them up for failure. And at the end of the day, it reflects on them and it reflects on me as a team leader, and it doesn't allow us to meet the outcome. I always end each conversation with asking, what questions do you have? And also, I ensure that the team member restates what we've been discussing to ensure that they understand it. It's critical because not only does it reduce stress for the team members, because they have a lay of the land, they know the boundaries, the left and the right, but it also allows me to hold them accountable to the outcomes. Now with the roles defined, which was step 3, we come to the most seismic shift in building truly high-performing teams. Step 3, moving from chain of command to a chain of support. And now I know that the conventional chain of command that's been the standard practice for decades is actually undermining your team's potential. So I completely invert the organizational pyramid because I know that in most companies, information and decisions, as does crap, flows downward while problems and requests flow upwards. And this means bottlenecks, delays, and worst of all, disengagement. So I ensure that my mindset and those that I'm supporting makes the shift to commanding, to supporting each level underneath to meet their expectations and standards, looking after the people. And so what does that actually look like? It comes in the form of information, resources, and removing barriers. Often those barriers are political. That's my job as a leader. So my interactions and regular check-ins start with two simple but powerful questions. What are you working on? And what help can I give you? That's what the actual support looks like day to day. Notice the psychology here. I'm positioning myself not as a taskmaster, but as a resource provider. You're saying, I am here to make you successful. These interactions serve multiple functions. First, they give me visibility into what's happening without micromanaging. Second, proactively, I can identify obstacles before they become performance issues. And third, they fundamentally reposition my role from directive to supportive. And in my lived experience, many leaders worry that this approach means abandoning accountability or not being too nice or too soft. Let me be crystal clear. This model does not mean lowering expectations or accepting mediocrity at all. And the last step I think is the most important, and that is step 4. Don't be an asshole. Yeah, it sounds simple, it sounds derogatory. Nicety, courtesy, respect is often a casualty when the pressure mounts, something I know all about, high pressure situations. Stress can do that. So don't be an a-hole to others, and more importantly, don't be an a-hole to yourself. Man, if we spoke to ourselves the way we talk to our friends, we wouldn't have any friends. We certainly wouldn't have anyone that wants to work with us or for us, that's for sure. Recognize that work can be hard, business can be hard, government can be hard. So give yourself and others some grace. And that's step number 4. And that is literally the exact step-by-step process on how to build a killer team as a leader. So if you follow every single step in this video, I promise you, you will see results and you will be a better leader for your team. Fortunately, I can make this process faster and more clear. Just simply comment team down below and I will give you the blueprint by which you can start the conversation with your team and moving from an ad hoc, organic team that's just happy to be here to leading with intention and creating that high-performing team, even one that you've inherited in the past.